As much as I was prepared for an absolute catastrophe for the Supergirl movie, nothing could prepare me for how bad it actually turned out to be. I mean, dear God, I've seen grass grow more entertainingly than this film. They say that the writer of this has never worked on anything before, and yeah, checks out. The story she created was absolute garbage. I literally think that James Gunn went over to Craig Gillespie like, hey, so what do you think we can do to make the lamest story, lamest movie ever? Oh, you got that? Yeah, let's do it. Because, like, what in the world are we even doing here, man? It's such boredom that I don't think even someone who's highly invested in DEI ideology or left wing ideology could sit through this and enjoy it. I think anyone who's leaving a positive review at 10 out of 10 is either being paid off by the studio or they are just doing it for ideological reasons. Anyone who's actually seen this film and being honest about it, I don't see how you can have a positive review to have this. Even my friend, who is more lenient to James Gunn, to be more willing to be open to what he wants to do, was like, yeah, I'm going to give it like maybe a 6 or a 5. Personally, I'm just going to say I gave it a 3. Like, that is where this film is at. It doesn't deserve anything else besides our honest opinion of it, and it is garbage. We have Cora Zor-El, who's just off partying on planets, being a drunk, celebrating her birthday week for that, for who knows what reasons. Now, if you know the story, it's kind of tragic. She was growing up on Krypton. Krypton was dying, so her parents put her into a show that head to Earth to watch over her younger cousin to help him grow up and protect him from any dangers in the world. Didn't quite work out. She got caught in like a time loop or got delayed, so she didn't show up until Clark was already grown up. Now, in this version, not quite the case, but I want to give you that at least beginning taste. So, what's comic book fans' expectations for what the story is? Because once you learn the actual reason for why she's bar hopping and drunk all the time, you're like, I feel you. But at the same time, I feel like you've lessened the actual impact on Cora quite a bit. With that said, let's keep going forward to the other main heroine that we're going to see. And you know what? I'm going to be honest, I completely forget her name. I'm going to put her right here. I'm just going to call her daughter throughout this review because she has no character. She has one characteristic, and we're going to get into that right now. She comes from a family who's out on some random world. Apparently, her parents are weapons makers, and one night, someone lands on their property and is coming into their house. Now, the parents apparently recognize it. Apparently, they know that this is a dangerous individual, and like, you know what? We'll just stay here. We'll greet them. We'll give them the weapons, and they'll leave. And it takes about 30 seconds to a minute for the actual person to come in. You know what they could have done at this time frame? They could have gone to their kids to like, hey, stay in your rooms. There's someone coming in. Don't leave. That would have been the smart thing to do. Instead, what do? They just stand there. The guy comes into the house. He sees that they got food. He starts eating. He's a slob. Apparently, he's Krem from the Yellow Hill Brigaders. Apparently, it's a criminal organization. They offer him the weapons. He accepts their deal. He's going to pick it up, and they're about to head out. During this whole conversation, the daughter's gone up out of her room because she heard someone landing, and she was in the hallway watching what was going on. And she just so happens to step in front of her brother's room with the door cracked open. Now, the brother, he looks over. He sees his sister there. He's like, oh, I'm going to scare her. So he jumps up to scare her, and when he does that, the barbarian or the brigade dude throws his axe, killing the son, which then causes the mom and dad to then attack the dude who just killed their son, and the whole family dies except for her. Like, what in the world is all that? Like, you could have just been like, hey, mom, dad, go tell your kids to lock the doors, or you could have been like, the dude just busted open when they're in the middle of a meal, and he just kills a kid just to show his ruthlessness. The whole scene made no sense, but that is her whole identity. We don't learn anything really else about her, except for, my innocent family has been murdered. I must get revenge for my innocent family. Like, yeah, okay, we get that they're innocent, but do you keep needing repeating that to us? Like, dear Lord. And the film, they try to make you remember her name several times throughout the film. It's just so unmemorable. You care so little for her and for her plight and for what she's wanting to do that you just don't keep her in her mind at all. And so after all this takes place, she goes out to a bar with mercenaries to try to hire somebody to help her out. Apparently she exclaims, what have happened? She's searching for someone to help her out. No one responds, and she tells them who she is, who her father was, and she holds up the sword that she's offering as payment. Now, apparently, this must be a pretty impressive sword because a whole lot of people get up. And what do you think happens when she's in such an establishment? Do you think, like, hey, everyone, we're going to come up, we're going to work for you? Yeah, of course, we're honorable people, we'll help you track down this criminal who murdered your family. Of course not. That's not what happens. What happens is someone distracts the girl, and a big beefy dude with tentacles on his face comes over, rips the sword out of her hand, and leaves the establishment, which is pretty nice. Because you know what they could have done? They could have just killed her and then taken the sword. The fact that she gets her life is a pretty good bonus. This is what we call a stupid tax. You should have known better not to go to a place with criminals who will better off just kill you instead of helping you out, unless you have actually something backing you up, which you're just a weak little girl who can't defend herself, so of course they're going to just steal your weapon. Now at this point, this is where Core comes in and is like, hey, just give the weapon back to the girl, help her out. She's drunk, she's out of her mind, Crypto's being a nuisance, and it's just a pain in the ass. Like, I'm gonna be honest, Crypto, I'm done with him. I'm completely done with Crypto. Like, the way that this movie began is with him pissing on a photo of Superman in a newspaper of him saving something, and it just completely disrespects him. I can't remember because the film doesn't want you to remember it, so I'm not going to rely too long on what exactly Superman did. Still, they just like showing the blatant disrespect this film has towards Superman. With that, she goes out, doesn't convince the dude, so she roughs him up a bit, gets the sword back, gives it to the girl. The girl tries to hire her. She's like, no, I have no interest in that. And she wanders back to her shuttle trailer to sleep off her hangover and all that. Next day, she wakes up, and the girl's still there, trying to persuade her to join her. Now, while she's doing that, for whatever reason, Krem shows up and takes Supergirl's spaceship for a joyride. I have no idea why he's there. What in the world is the villain who just killed this girl's family? Why is he there? Like, is he there to hunt down the girl and then to use her to get to Supergirl? It makes absolutely zero sense on what he's doing there. It's never explained. And that's the one thing. The villain's motivations are never fully explained by the villain or really anybody else around. It's just these are bad guys. So, Crypto, he realizes what's going on, and he rushes back to the trailer to try to stop these guys, and they shoot Crypto with a tranquilizing dart and leave. Now, apparently this dart was poisoned, and he only has 72 hours to live, which makes no sense, because if they just were to take Crypto to a planet with a yellow sun, they could save him because he's Kryptonian, just like Supergirl, but apparently you can't do that, because otherwise he'll die if you move him, which I'm like, if it's that fast acting, if just slight movement is going to kill the dog, he should be dead in minutes, not in 72 hours. Like, it just doesn't make any sense on why he has to stay on that planet. But now we have a reason for Supergirl to go after the villains that murdered this girl's family. And still, Supergirl is like, no, I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to help you out. And she gets a separate bus to try to go find some brokers of dealers to find who these Yellow Hill guys are so she can go get her antidote for her dog. While she's on this bus, they get attacked by female pirates, and we learn that these female pirates are pretty dangerous because one person tries to resist them, and he gets paralyzed. Now, he doesn't get killed by them, but we're going to presume that if someone resisted any harder than that, there's the opportunity that they will actually kill them. Now, Supergirl and them have a fight, but she doesn't massively harm any of the pirates. In fact, I'm pretty sure she just lets them go after they give her information about the Yellow Hill Brigade and where she can find them. From there, they then go on to this other random planet where they go to a bar where Supergirl tries to get information, kind of fails at that. Apparently, on this planet, that is where they learn that the reason why the brigade is there is that they're trying to get women for their population because it's been decimated by atomic war, and they need to repopulate. So they're gathering girls all around the galaxy, and in that bar, apparently, the young girl that's with Supergirl is a hot commodity that she's trying to use to trade with them. Doesn't really go well because there's an arm wrestling where she just breaks the dude's arm off that we saw in a trailer. That's just like, okay, great. You now did that, and now everyone wants to kill you in the bar. And so Supergirl just pushes the girls off to the side. We don't get to see the fight. We just have the one girl off to the side, camera focused on her the whole time as the fight goes on, and then it ends and they are back at the table. Now, after all that happens, someone stands up from a corner, and it turns out to be Lobo. And Lobo is hunting for, I don't know if it's a lieutenant or a sergeant in the Yellow Hill Brigade, but it's someone who has a bounty on his head, and Lobo's there to collect. The main man is in business. Now, there's not really much that happens here, but there's an interaction between Korra and the daughter, and that's pretty much it. And Global goes on his ways because the people at the bar aren't helping him track down the Yellow Hill Brigade at all. And from there, that's pretty much the end of Global for a little bit. But the bartender is like, hey, let's take you to our house, protect you. We'll put a cloak over the girl's head to protect her from people because they're trying to hunt her down. And so they go and wait in the person's house as they wait for information where they can track down the Yellow Hill Brigade. Which at this point we then learn the backstory of Korra. And we also learn that everything we know about Jor-El, about Clark's father and mother on Krypton is true, that they did indeed want little baby Superman to go and conquer the galaxy to become the Viltrumite Empire. Yeah, they want him to build a harem, and that's 100% factual. People are like, oh, well, maybe Lex Luthor hacked into it. Maybe some wacky stuff happened. Like, we don't really know for sure. No, this film reconfirms it. We reconfirm now, for a matter of fact, that James Gunn sees Superman as a Viltrumite, as someone who's just going around spread a seed, who doesn't really care about the history for Superman. It's just for his own weird ideological. I don't even know why he would want to disrespect the history of Superman like this, but we got confirmation in this scene. We also learn that Supergirl was actually not born during the time of Krypton when it got destroyed. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there is part of Supergirl's history where Krypton gets destroyed. Supergirl's already a teenager. She gets sent off-world by her parents to help raise her cousin, but she gets either delayed or stuck out there in space and doesn't arrive until much later, and Clark Kent is already adult at this point in time. This is completely different. She's now on Aragon, a city that is in a sphere floating through space that is the last of the Kryptonians. Now, unfortunately, the Kryptonians are starting to die out because there's kryptonite within the crust or within the rock that their city's built on, and so they're slowly dying off. And to protect the daughter, he has to send her off to follow Jor-El's son. And with that, that's the end of Supergirl's time with her parents. Now, her mom, did pass away, and her dad was slowly dying of sickness, and he sent her off as a farewell before she gets sick as well, which completely understand. Great decision to send your daughter off a dying world. Kind of wish you'd do that for the other parents, but details. And this is why Kara is going around bars and in a bad mood all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. Having a parent die is extremely, extremely heartbreaking. Having your father die in front of you is also extremely heartbreaking, and not even able to be with him in his final moments. I completely understand that's also going to be rough on you. And going to a completely different planet when you're around the age of 16, 15, I'm not sure exactly the age range that Kara got to Earth, but somewhere around there. Yeah, I completely understand. It can be rough. But at the same time, it's not as deep of an emotional weight as when you witness your planet falling apart around you, all your friends dying. Like, yes, you have people dying on Aragon City, but it's the place you've only known. It doesn't have the same emotional weight as what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel as disastrous, like you lost an entire world. You never knew that world. You didn't know what you didn't have. You do know that your city's slowly dying, that your parents are now more than likely all passed away. Your dad could be alive, but we don't know. My theory is that at this point in time, Brainiac has come by and got in the city and has saved probably the majority of the remaining Kryptonians in his city collection that he maintains. That's what I like to think there, but details. After that whole sob story, Korra tells the daughter to wait in the room that they've been staying in, and she goes out to explore and questions why it's been taking so long for them to get a hold of the Yellow Hill Raiders, where she then is having some tea and discussing the matters with the bartender and his wife, where she then discovers that she's been poisoned by them and that these people do indeed know the Yellow Raiders. In fact, they called them to make an exchange, Korra and the daughter, for their own daughter. And apparently the dad also gets weak feet and helps Korra get rid of the poison that they just literally poisoned her with so that she can fight it back against those who would be coming after to collect her. Which makes no sense. Like, okay, if it's the mom, I can understand, like, hey, this isn't right. We should help her out. Like, this is wrong for us. I can understand the dad being like, no, we need to save the daughter. But they completely flip the roles around. Like, I don't know. This whole universe has a real issue with portraying masculine characters or male characters and really wants to feminize them and give anything that could be masculine to more so on the female side of the spectrum. Maybe I'm wrong, but at least that's my perspective that I'm getting from what we've seen from DCU so far. Now, as the Yellow Hill Raiders show up, Cora's still poisoned. Um, they rough her up a little bit. Eventually, she's able to get the poison out of her system and is able to fight back against them. And we have a whole fight that ensues after that. During this whole exchange, apparently the Yellow Hill Raiders are also picking up brides again and shuttling them up to the ship. And Cora's trying to stop them as that's going on. You then have the Dar leaving the room, trying to go hunting down Keem and trying to get him killed. Keem apparently has the antidote around his neck. But Cora isn't able to get to him because of all the henchmen. She has to fight off the henchmen first before she can get to Keem to get the antidote. At this point, we have Lobo showing up, and honestly, he's the best part of this entire scene. He's just beating up guys. He gets his quarry a couple times, but he still escapes. There's one point where the Dar has an opportunity to kill Keem. She jumps forward, about to kill him, and then Cora stops her for the moral reason of it's not a good idea to kill people. Gotta be better than this. It's going to eat away at your soul. Even though there's nothing that really should be stopping Cora. Like, what is she talking from? Like, hey, it's going to eat away at you for killing somebody. Who have you killed? Who's eating away at you? Like, as far as I know in the history of Cora, there's no one really like that. Like, she might be upset and angry that her mom and dad are passing away, but there's no one that she's gotten revenge on that didn't fill the void. So who exactly are you talking this from? It just feels like it's the plot, the moral code that has to be told to this younger character, like, hey, killing is bad. But Cora doesn't really have the experience to be telling that to somebody. At least not in the way that she's going about it, in my personal opinion. Now, with that, the daughter and Cora have an argument and a fight, and at that point, Carrie can't take it anymore and just flies off into the space and just screams. Just screams, you know? Isn't that empowering for a woman to go out into space and just scream? Honestly, that's probably the most feminist part about this film. Okay, I'm probably going to get eviscerated for that one, but I'm just being honest here. Like, why are you screaming? Like, how's that going to help your situation? But she does it, then she goes back to the planet, finds one of the guys who worked with the Yellow Hill Brigade and gets them to send her to their planet. Which, once she gets onto said planet, it's going great at first, and then a green light shows up. And then we learn that there's a kryptonite sun that starts poisoning her and weakening her. That's pretty convenient that there's a kryptonite sun there. You know, I'm not really against there being a kryptonite sun, but man, is that convenient just to show out of the blue. Like, one side of the planet gives you superpowers, the other side of the planet will kill you, and depending on the time of day, it could be an amazing or a bad time for you. Thankfully, the Dar tagged along in a back of the shuttle and is able to help rescue Cora from their current situation. Now, as Cora's recovering in a cave, the Dar goes down to get some water for her, where she then gets captured and brought onto the brigand's ship. Now, at the brigand ship, she gets questioned and interrogated like, hey, where's the Kryptonian? If you tell us, we'll let you live. And at that, the Dar spits on Krem's face, and then Krem says something which doesn't match up with the character that will kill you by the end of the day. Why would he say that? Like, let's not forget that the brigands, the main reason why they're after women is to rebuild their population. This is a young girl. Why didn't he say something along the lines of, you're going to be put into our program? Like, why? That'd be more villainous than what happens to her, which is ending her life. Like, I just don't understand. Like, oh, well, Carl, that's just too dark. This is the villain. The villain is supposed to be disgusting. The villain is supposed to be revolting. You want the villain to die. Okay. But just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Because I feel like some people don't understand what a villain's role is supposed to be. You're not supposed to like these people. Like, I don't understand Hollywood's fascination with, oh, it's just a misunderstood villain. They're actually good people. No. No. Villains are evil and should be eliminated. Especially this gentleman right here who has killed many people. Why would you not go the extra level just have him being disgusting? I just don't personally understand it. Now, Lobo is also locked up in a cell next to her, and she tries to play on like a moral code for Lobo to have him help her, but Lobo's like, no. I go for the money. I don't care about your moral codes. If you pay me, I'm doing the job. My word is my bond. If I say something, I'll go do it. Now, after that, a few minutes go by, and she starts calling out and begging, like, hey, I want to go speak to Krem. I want to give up. I don't want to die. I want to live. And the guards get up to go get her to bring her to Krem. Now, everyone knows what's happening here. Everyone sees it. You could never watch a movie before and be like, oh, they're doing this. They're really doing this. The dude gets into her cell, put cuffs on her, in which in turn she then strangles him and kills the guard. Mind you, this little girl is what, maybe 50 pounds sopping wet? This is a dude who's 250 pounds probably, with armor on. He's not going down easily, especially by this little girl. But she does this ninjutsu, she moves around, she has better control of the space, and is able to then kill the dude. Because on this prison cell has spikes that can hurt you or kill you if you climb up there. So, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what they decide to do with their prison cell. It's just dumb. With that, the little girl gets out. She frees Lobo, and Lobo and her starts go causing mayhem. She goes to try and hunt down the leader. Now, at this point in time, we keep getting flashbacks of Korra in the cave getting sick from the green sun. She's still sick from the green sun. She's still sick from the green sun. It was just like, show us once, don't show us again. We know what happened to her. But like, hey, she's sick. Okay, just want to make sure you know that she's not doing well. And then finally she gets this yellow sun and comes back to where the Yellow Hill Brigands are to help out with the capture of Krem. With that, the daughter gets up to the top of the ship where she finds Krem. She has her blade back from their armory, and she's about to kill him until she gets captured again and is almost killed by him. Thankfully, Korra shows up, and then a whole fight ensues. Now, she's flung off the side of the ship where she's hung dangling for most of the fight as Korra goes around killing all the Yellow Hill Brigades. Now, mind you, these are all white guys that she's killing. As far as I can tell, there's not one black dude among the bunch. If there is, please let me know down below because I completely missed that. As far as I can tell, there's just a whole bunch of white guys that she keeps on killing. Which, fine, these are the bad guys. Go ahead and do it. I just found it interesting, like, you let the woman diversity go free without a scratch, really, but you go off and kill all the white guys. And they're just the villains, and they're wanting to do something from the Handmaid's Tale. I just thought it was pretty hilarious of like how much left-wing ideology and right-wing bashing can you do in here. I'm sorry, it just was just a little bit wild, so I had to mention that at least a little bit. Anyways, Lobo comes back out, they fight everyone. Lobo finally is able to kill the guy, get his head in a bag, and they're able to start causing some massive mayhem around the ship. Korra, she gets a little bit injured, she gets a little bit poisoned by some Kryptonian darts by Krem, but she's able to get them taken care of thanks to Lobo, and the ship is pretty much going down in a heap of flames. Now at this point, the Dara and Kara reunite when the Dara's like, hey, the brides, you gotta save the brides, which has not been a major plot point at all. Yes, we are mentioning this. We are told that this is something we should care about, but our heroines do not care. They are never factored into their plans. They're like, oh wow, this is absolutely horrendous. We should really go save these girls who are being captured and sold into slavery. We never get a comment like, jeez, these guys are pigs. Like, they're doing that to these innocent girls? Never once do we get this, that these two ever care about the brides that these guys are capturing. Except for, at this point, the plot requires Supergirl to disappear for a bit so that the Dara can be surrounded by the Yellow Hill Brigade once more, and Krem can have another opportunity to kill her, or she can kill Krem. But no, it just doesn't it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Supergirl, she goes in, saves the brides, and they all leave the area, and voila, she's the hero. And Krem, he's about to engage with the daughter, but Supergirl flies in, beats the living daylights out of him, and then beats up the rest of the people that are around the daughter for the whole point. Once again, it's focusing in on the daughter, not on Supergirl's fight. We just see tanks flying, men flying, bikes flying, but we don't get to see the actual fight. It's like the Mr. Terrific scene all over again, except way lamer. The Dara and Korra go over to Krem, who's now laying on the ground, and the Dara is about to kill him to get revenge, and Korra gives her speech once more and is finally able to reach the daughter, and she walks away from killing him. which then the leader then makes a stupid comment of how she's not going to get away from him. He's going to hunt her down and kill her, which Supergirl then comes up and kills him. And I'm like, okay, you're supposed to feel like, oh, how could our hero do this? How could she kill the evil guy? Or, wow, that's deep. No, you feel nothing. You don't really care. You're like, oh, okay, he's dead. The deadbeat's dead. Cool, I guess. It just really means nothing at all. That's really the most I can say about this whole thing. It's just a whole lot doesn't happen. I do remember, I think at one of the points, one of the brides, a black girl, she holds a gun, she kills somebody, and that pretty much ends the scene there. Everyone goes their separate ways. Lobo nods to Kara from the distance, that a girl, after she kills a dude, and then drives away with his bounty. We then have Kara back on the same homeworld that the girl came from. We then learn that she has an aunt who loves and cares for her, that she's going to go stay with. Why weren't you with her before? Why didn't you two go to the mercenaries to hire somebody? Like, why did you go alone? Because this girl is dumb. That's the best I can say. From there, though, they then part their ways. Until then, they then decide to go party with each other on some random planets to celebrate. But Kara has now decided to head back to Earth to be with Superman. And we have kind of this warm scene, but instead of, embracing Kara, they just kind of both sit down respectfully, and he's just like passive aggressively being like, so yeah, I could have used your help with this guy, but I understand you have your own life. I don't want to pose. And Kara's like, no, this is home. This is where I'm going to be now. And then Crypto starts making a mess in the kitchen again. Oh, I forgot to mention, Crypto is now okay after they fed him his potion that he needed, which, great. You just couldn't get rid of the dog. I'm sorry. At this point, I don't care for him at all. And that pretty much concludes Supergirl movie. Yeah, about as fun and exciting as watching paint dry. In my honest opinion, I think that this film is not going to even be making $300 million in the box office. It'll be lucky if it reaches the $200 million, in my personal opinion. I think if you want a good idea of how this movie goes, you should go read the Variety article for the Supergirl review. Millie Alcock takes charge in a dystopian superhero movie so flat it's super horrendous. Fantastic article. Go read that. That's pretty much exactly what this movie is. If you want to see a positive spin, you can go read the Collider article that is absolutely praising it, which I don't understand why you would. If you're looking at Rotten Tomatoes, I can't understand why these scores are so high. They should be more rock bottom. I know a lot of people take Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt, and rightfully so, but still it's one of the most well-known aggregators out there, and so I'm going to presume that over the course of time, over this weekend, it's just going to get worse. One of the things that is very disappointing is with James Gunn is when he came out and made the statement when he took over the DC studio, we're not going into production on any movie until the script we have is rock solid, for that was the overriding problem with the superhero overkill era. I'm sorry, James Gunn, you absolutely failed in that regard, and by a massive margin. Oh, one more thing. You might want to take a look at the daughter's outfit. There's a symbol on there that is quite fascinating. So take a look at that and let me know if you notice anything. But with that said, that's been my review for Supergirl. I want to leave it for you guys. What do you guys think of it? Has I been too harsh? Did I go a little bit too much in detail? Or should I have been harsher? Leave your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a dislike if you did not. And don't forget to subscribe. I hope you all take care now. Bye.